place. We all live in this world together. It doesn't matter who's right, it doesn't matter who's wrong. If we don't all get along much better,
show each other more respect, then maybe we could connect and stop taking all these things for granted.
you think that you're all alone, but we all share the same home. Let's join together and save the planet. If you love the world, it'll love you back. No matter who you are, no matter where you're at. If you love the world, it'll love you back. No matter who you are, no matter where you're at. Love is the only river holding the world together. Love is the only river. We're all in this together. We are the ones who can change. We are all one and the same. We are the ones who can turn the tide.
Doesn't matter who we are, 'cause hand in hand we'll go far. Let's get together and show our pride.
And if we all do our part, a new era can start. Never forget that you're not alone.
We're taking the world by storm. We're proud of how we were born. One love is all we need. One love is all we need.
Love is the only river. Love is the only river holding the world together. Holding the world together. Love is the only river. Love is the only river. We're all in this together.
Peace and unity between you and me. It's all I'll ever need. It's all I'll ever need. Peace and unity between you and me. It's all I'll ever need. It's all I'll ever need. Peace and unity between you and me. It's all I'll ever need. It's all I'll ever need.
Show love, spread love, same race, same thing. Show love, spread love, same race, same thing. Show love, spread love, same race, same thing. Show love, spread love, same race.
One morning, a young boy was walking along the beach, and he came to a part of the beach where thousands of starfish had been washed up during a terrible storm the night before. Now, he knew that if the starfish were out of the water too long, all of them would die. So whenever he went to a starfish and passed one, he'd pick it up and throw it back into the ocean. And people watched him with amusement. He'd been doing this for some time, and then a man approached the little boy. He said, "Little boy, why are you doing this? Look at this beach. You can't even begin to save all of these starfish, and to be honest, you probably won't even make much of a difference." And the little boy seemed crushed and suddenly deflated. But after a few minutes, he bent down, picked up a starfish, and threw it as far as he could into the ocean. And he looked back up at the man and replied, "Well, I made a difference to that one." And the old man looked at the boy and thought about what he had said and done, and he was inspired. He decided to join the little boy and started throwing starfish back into the ocean. Within minutes, many other people joined in, and almost all of the starfish were saved. So just remember, when you're listening to a story like this, you're never too small to make a difference in someone's life. Don't worry if the difference that you make is a big difference or a small difference. The only thing that you should be focused on is trying to make a difference in the world.
Love is the only river.
That's right, folks. All we need is love. And our guest today embodies the spirit of love and transformation. And his life's journey has prepared him for this pivotal moment in time. Before we dive into our conversation with him, let's address a foundational question. What are the American States Assemblies? Well, the American state assemblies represent the lawful American government, which has been missing in action for over 150 years. It might sound surprising, but indeed, this is the case. Our government is made up of living, breathing men and women who have identified the fraud that has been perpetrated against us. They have rebutted the deceit, corrected the public record, and are now rebooting our lawful government. A government for, of, and by the people, as envisioned and initially implemented by our founders. This form of governance has been absent since the so-called Civil War. Have you ever wondered how a government can be truly for, of, and by the people if the people themselves are absent from the equation? Well, the core issues lies in the unlawful conversion of American state nationals to foreign citizens through mechanisms like the birth certificate, a tool used to securitize and monetize one's given name, resulting in the burden of national debt. Evidence supporting this includes 28 U.S.C. 3002, Section 15, which identifies the United States as a corporation. Moreover, the government is often referred to as a democracy, yet our founders never intended it to be such. A democracy, by definition, is mob rule. In contrast, a Republican form of government invests sovereignty in the people, allowing them to exercise power either directly or through chosen representatives. Historical courts such as Cruden v. Neal and Self v. Ray emphasize the supremacy of common law and the notion that codes, rules, and regulations are for government authorities only and not for the people, who are bound only by natural law. Please visit the website scrolling across the bottom of the screen for further information. All right. Now, without further ado, I have the honor and privilege to introduce you to Hunter Aki. Hunter is a father, an American national, veteran, researcher, and visionary. He dreams of a world where our children and future generations live in abundance. Recognizing the malevolence behind the current financial system, he has pioneered a unique prosperity system in which people are the intrinsic value. Hunter's system is designed to align human life force energy with nature and creation, resonating with the 528 hertz love frequency. This vibration harmonizes with the natural world, contrasting sharply with the current banking system's discordant focus on greed, usury, and debt. His prosperity system is accessible to all 8 billion lives on our planet, promoting true wealth and abundance. Hunter invites everyone to first correct their political status and then open a prosperity account, paving the way for a restored and abundant world. Welcome, Hunter, and thank you so much for coming onto the podcast today. It's a pleasure to have you.
Aloha. Thank you.
Aloha.
I appreciate it.
Yes.
And thank you for opening the introduction the way you did. Because everything has a foundation, and for global, that foundation stemmed from recognizing, why is this world so dysfunctional?
Yeah.
And that's what took me on the journey to apply my background in science and research.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Tammy. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I don't mean to interrupt, but I was just wondering if you could just give us a little history, like your background. Where did you come from? And, what's your experience and what technically brought you to where we are today and building this prosperity system?
Well, I don't know if we have enough time. but
Maybe
in
just some pivotal moments in your life.
well, I'm just a humble Hawaiian boy from the countryside of Oahu. Grew up on the North Shore. And actually, in my family background, we weren't supposed to go past high school. And that's what makes it so humbling for me, is the journey of what was supposed to be and where I am now.
Yeah.
And since then, I can really appreciate, as I reflect on my journey, uh, again, the successful the successful evolving that I've gone through. So my background is very diverse. Again, I was first a captain in the Air Force. Well, let me back up a little bit. So I've been on my own since I was 13.
Wow.
Yeah, I've been on my own since I was 13. So I put myself through school. But when I was 13, that's when I took my first airplane ride. Okay. And when the airplane took off and I was sitting on the window, and all of a sudden I'm looking out the window and wow, that's a different perspective. and that's where that bug got me. And then fast forward, I ended up going the course to find out how to become a pilot. And so I put myself through school.
Wow.
I went through ROTC. And because I started late, I had to enter into the Air Force program before I had hit 27. So my first passion was to major in mathematics. But because mathematics would take me too long, past the age of 27, I shifted into communications. But what is interesting in communication, I went into a direction where it was corporate communications. So in corporate communication, I started learning the dynamics of corporate structuring and the communication network, you see. And so I got my degree in communications, which allowed me to make it into pilot training. And so I accomplished that as well. I became a officer in the Air Force and a pilot. So I did, again, gratefully served from 1983 to 1990.
Wow.
And then there are so many other skills.
Were you in any significant? I'm trying to think during that time period. Was there any significant wars going on at that time? Was that? I'm trying to think of.
I mean, there's always wars going on.
Yes,
but,
I know.
But when I got there, we were just finishing the evacuations of Grenada.
Gotcha.
Okay, that event.
Yeah.
And then I was there also during the time when Marcos was exiting out of the Philippines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But yeah, there's always events going on. But
and now, after you got out of the military, bring us to that point in your life.
Yeah, that's what's interesting, because as a pilot, I was air refueling qualified, I was airdrop qualified, I was instructor pilot qualified, I was stand eval qualified. So, and I had over 3,000 hours heavy time. So I was well qualified to transition right into the airlines. Does that make sense?
Did you actually, were you a pilot for the airlines?
No, I didn't. That's what makes it.
Okay.
That, because while I was in the Air Force, I started seeing that something just wasn't quite right. Because there was also political chaos that I could see as an officer. Of what would have to be faced. So if it was just about the money, absolutely, I already had the door open for me at United Airlines.
Right. Yeah.
But then, but then interesting at that moment, I started reflecting and saying, I'll be going from one job to another job. Of course, going from 30,000 a year to 100,000 a year, that's a significant increase.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So if it was just about the money, yeah, absolutely, I would have gone that course. But what really piqued my interest is that I would be going from one job to another job, and that would be it. Okay.
Right.
And so the other question I asked, what's the difference between someone like me, which would be making significant more money, but at the same time, someone like a Warren Buffett? You see where I'm going with this?
Right.
And a
Yes.
Bill Gates. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that piqued my interest to say, you know what, I need to understand more about investing.
Right.
And so I decided not to go to the airlines. I started the path of educating myself. And Charles Givens was actually the first person that I attended his seminar, which is where I learned quite a bit about it. And it started, you'll know my mind's very intuitive. Okay.
Mhm.
And so I started running numbers because I'm a numbers guy.
Yep.
And I started putting together. I said, this is how the rich becomes richer. They know how to apply the rule of 72. So it's one thing to know the rule of 72. It's another thing to be able to successfully apply it. You see?
Yeah. And for those who may not know the rule of 72, did you want to touch on that, or is that irrelevant?
Yeah, no. I mean, it's not irrelevant. Every part of knowledge is important. And so the rule of 72 basically provides you a real clear map on when you should double your money. Okay. So if you're successfully achieving 10% a year on your investment portfolio, then with the rule of 72 applied, your portfolio should double every 7.2 years, dividing it by 10. You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
And that's the rule of 72.
Gotcha.
So I learned the mathematics. And then as I started further educating myself, that's when I realized, really applying it. That's where the challenge is. But anyway, I my intention is to add value. And so I went down that direction, and that's where there are so many times in my journey, I had doubts. I had doubts, and I said, man, maybe I should have just went to the airlines. But then there was something there that just told me that would have been the end already. You see?
Yeah.
Whereas that's where I went through the nightmares. Actually, that's when I figured out how Trump uses the bankruptcy for his advantage. Okay. Because I went through bankruptcy myself. Okay. And I lost my home, and going through that process, what I realized is that I wasn't being there was this energy. I didn't know what it was at that time, but it's like I could see through the fog of the value that I was going through in this journey, because I was seeing parts of the system that was dysfunctional. Remember I told you?
Yes.
I always had that inkling. And so I started viewing this suffering that I was supposed to go through as actually the path.
Part of your journey. Yeah, it was part of your journey. You had to go through it. Yeah.
I had to go through it because now I know the truth,
Yeah. I've experienced similar things in my life too, where there was significant painful moments. But it took me in hindsight to look back and say, I had to go through that in order to be here and do what I'm doing today. So yeah, I get that for sure. So now after your time, in the financial sector, lead us up to, kind of where we're at today.
Well, again, in the financial sector, I didn't just learn the rule of 72. I became very successful in analyzing companies because I'm an analyst.
Hmm.
And so I was then building a track record where I would be engaged to come in and turn companies around.
Wow.
Yeah. So I became, my profession became mergers and acquisitions.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So with that background, uh, I was able to really, hone in my skills on that. But again, I started recognizing that profession,
Hmm.
the chaos. I didn't discover yet, but the chaos in that profession. So everything has a reason. And so I was in the middle of a fairly, okay, I'm going to share this expression. I don't gamble. Okay, Tammy? I don't gamble. But back then, I would own a casino.
You would or you did?
I did. And that's where, again, I reflect, because had I stayed there, I would not be here right now.
Yeah.
Because
So it sounds like you've had quite a bit of experience in the what you're terming the evil-nomics, right? In the sectors of all the evil-nomics. And so it's not a surprise that somebody who's had that background and experience would be able to now create a prosperity system, because you've seen the back end of everything that they're doing, right, in that
yeah,
system.
beautiful, Tammy. And that's in that moment in time, uh, what I experienced, which I wasn't really quite sure, but I'm getting this data download, okay, to go research is love energy. And the reason why it got my attention is because I'm in the middle of acquiring a casino. And
That's quite a combination.
so I'm like at this intersection, right? But that's what got my attention, Tammy, because I wasn't quite sure what was happening, but why is this coming into, you know,
Yeah, that fork in the road. You had to really I could go left or I could go right. Very interesting. So
yeah,
give us an idea how, so now you're creating this prosperity center or system rather, and you have, this background in mergers, acquisitions, and in the financial institutions. You walk away. I'm supposing that you walked away from that opportunity, and you began creating this prosperity system. I'm sure. How many years did it take for you to create what it is we have today?
I had the system. I don't want to get too far ahead because I
Okay,
do
sorry,
want
I'm getting ahead.
I do want the audience to be able to resonate with me and harmonize with me at the significant events that had taken place.
Sure.
So at the intersection, deciding to acquire this casino property, which
Yeah.
I already did the analysis, I knew that it would just catapult my wealth to a whole nother level,
Right. Right.
or listen to this transmission, which I have no idea where it's coming from, but it's telling me to go research is love energy.
Mm,
And that's what got my attention at the same time, because the message was so far off from what I was on already. And I choose at that moment to let that message come in.
right.
And
Yeah.
then I applied my scientific background. So you can appreciate all the skill sets of backgrounds that I do have. And from that, I established the hypothesis, is love energy? Okay. And that's when I started the research. And what I realized as I just started the research, I said, love is a word. So I have to go into the quantum field to be able to discover and explore. Okay. Because in the quantum field is where energy, frequency, and vibration, that's where it resonates from.
Mhm.
And so that's the direction that my research took me, because I started to realize that if you don't know, you don't know that words that we speak connects to the quantum field.
Right.
Then this
Yeah.
is why evil can manipulate the word love as well. And so being able to go into the quantum field, and I also recognized during experiments and experiencing that there are other researchers that was beginning to come into my energy space too, that was on the same track, precisely Len Horowitz, okay? And Masaru Emoto, okay? So these were researchers that were also researching in that area. And then, of course, the Thrive movement, right? They had produced a couple of things. But these things were coming into my energy space after I started. So it was sort of like a validation that I was on the right track. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's how, when we talk about attraction, right? Laws of attraction, like that's how it works, right? Like when we're looking for something and diligently going after it, usually that's what we tend to attract. That's why it's so important to guard your thoughts, guard your words, and come from a place of intention.
I'm going to add value. I'm going to add value to your expression, because it's not a secret. Okay. It's just that we have been so infected by evil's manipulative agenda,
Right.
because evil has willed its presence here for centuries. That means generations.
Yeah.
Okay. I was brought up Christian, and at the same time, as I expressed to you, I'm done with God conversations. I'm done with religions. Okay. But I express it with sensitivity, because as a child born, you're just going where your parents are going, but
Right.
it's already been infected and programmed for generations.
Yeah.
And so I was grateful that I was on this journey to be able to have my background in science and physics, and to apply that knowledge into the quantum field, where I was getting patterns of validations through others that were also researching that subject matter. And then, especially when, Len Horowitz, he was the one that really honed in on the 528. And it really made perfect sense, that the center of the rainbow is transmitting 528, the sun rays, it really did make
Right.
sense. So I'm not getting caught up with all the frequency. I'm honing in on a precise frequency, so that we have a foundation to lock into.
Yep.
And then this is where I resonate with 528 hertz frequency. And through that, this is so humbling, because I then got to a point of the research where the light turned on. I went, aha, that means they're two different energies. Okay. So evil is its own frequency. Okay. although the frequency that it's resonating off of is really not part of the solfeggio, the original tones, but they found a way to infiltrate the 741 side. And then the 741 side gets distracted in the 440 hertz. And so that's why in the F sharp, it creates an interference into the 528. But that's what's so beautiful, because now I have that knowledge, right? So I say, okay, just lock in 741 evil. Does that make sense? Right?
Yeah. And, years ago when I was learning about frequency, it wasn't that long ago, but I was learning that they changed the, tuning for our
Right.
instruments
Right. To
to
440 hertz.
440. Yeah. And I remember at the time when I was researching this, I was looking into some videos, and there was a guy on YouTube that had his guitar tuned to 440, played a song, and then tuned it to 442 and played a song. And he didn't tell us which one it was tuned to, and said, pick which one you hear that you really like. And I found it interesting that it was so slight, but it was the 432 that I was resonating with, and chose that one. And so it's interesting when you talk about it's just the F sharp, right? I'm
Right.
sure as we go along and learning about frequencies and different musical tones and things of that such, is that we'll start learning. My son plays the guitar, and I wanted him to tune his guitar to 432, so that whatever he plays, it would be tuned properly. But,
Sure.
yeah.
What I'm sensitive to is, as I say, as I'm discovering these things, I got to this point because at that point
Your
it was
juncture.
yeah, because now I had a clear picture that there are two different energies. So if there are two different energies, how is it that we have been programmed to accept that life is a duality? You see? And so they present it like it's a yin and a yang, that you got to balance the two. Okay, I'm going to say this right now with compassion and sensitivity and with intention. It's not that way. Period. We get to choose. Okay? And when we choose, I chose, so I'm living it. Okay.
Right.
But at that point of discovery, I also realized you cannot fix evil. It's its own energy. It has precise patterns. That's when I could start connecting words to its specific frequency. So I have on one of my presentations on a slide where I would ask everyone in the audience, what comes to you when you think of love? And everyone would express family, caring, compassion. Okay. Then I would ask them the question, what comes to you when you think of evil? And suffering, okay, chaos, hurt. My point is, deep down inside of our heart center, we know.
The difference, yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is, we've been so programmed and infected in beliefs that is, that's the way it is.
It's evil disguised.
It's evil disguised, but it's presented like it's a duality.
Right.
That's what they say. They present it as a duality. And I'm saying, no, not now, because I get to choose. And when I chose and I realized I cannot fix evil, that's why I built the global system. And again, I'm grateful because of my skill set and background in being able to develop
And you know what I like to kind of compare it to, or merge these two together, maybe so that our ASNs, it'll resonate with our ASNs in this way, is that just like we have this evil government system, right, that has been mimicking what we were supposed to have, but it's operating in evil, right?
Yeah.
It's no different than the financial system, right? That this financial system is based on greed and usury and debt and all these evil things, and that you can't fix it. You can't fix it,
Yeah.
which is why you've created something different. And
Well,
likewise, just like when our founders, when they won the Revolutionary War, they were creating something that in the history of the world didn't exist yet, right? Same thing. Likewise, you've built a prosperity system that has never existed before. So, yeah,
but look at why the founders chose to leave, because deep down they were resonating with freedom.
right.
Okay.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
that's why they chose to leave. And so when I chose to build the love-onomics system, I built that system, which is a prosperity system. I'm not a bank. Okay. And
Right.
so I've already declared that the global systems are not banks. We're prosperity epicenters.
Mhm.
Okay. And so with that,
And do you want
oh,
to explain just a little bit for the audience, what is the difference? Like I think I'm resonating with the difference. But if you could explain to the audience who may be struggling, right? Because this is all they've known. What is different about it?
I mean, it's a paradigm shift. But on the back end, it's technology.
Mm.
Okay. So you can take a Citibank, okay, online portal, and you can take Global's Epicenter online portal. On the back end, it's the systems. Like I said, the problem is not technology. The problem is the energy that's wheeling the technology.
Mm.
And this is why when I knew I cannot fix evil, that's why it's very consistent. This system that we are slave to has been wielded by evil. And
Right.
so now you can connect all the words to describe it: slavery, destruction, manipulation, coercion, usury. Okay. How crazy is that? Because, well, I express it humbly because, again, in my presentation, when I'm presenting it right at the beginning, I have a large screen in the back of me that's showing the planet Earth, just like behind me now on my logo. And so what I would ask the audience is, how many of you see borders? And nobody would raise their hand. How many of you see countries? And nobody would raise their hands. How many of you see a beautiful planet for all of us? Everybody raises their hands. And then scientifically, I express to everybody that we're actually all made of the same fundamental building blocks of the universe, you
Right.
see. And so again, we can resonate with nature, what it's already provided us. And so that ought to really wake you up. And especially when I express this, nature's pattern, it didn't create money.
Right. No.
Nature, the air we breathe, the water we drink, the minerals we have in this planet, there's nowhere in the conversation of money. It's all here for all of us. And so as we evolve consciously into harmony with nature's clear channel frequency, the chaotic evil-nomic structure will extinguish, because there is no competition. Everything in the field is harmonious.
Yes.
So therefore, there's not going to be 10 companies competing with the same widgets, that it is only raping and pillaging the natural resources of what nature has provided us. Now we come together as a consciously resonating living people, and the best of the best scientists and physicists and engineers and architects, we all come together in harmony, and we steward the natural resources that nature has provided us. And
Yes,
still,
exactly.
yeah, it's not about money.
Right.
So So
Right.
global,
When you remove money from the equation altogether, um, I believe it's going to be such a different world. You know, I know
it,
that
it,
for some
it
people it's hard to imagine that, but you know, like you've been saying, is that we are the intrinsic value. So like
yeah.
I was having a conversation with a friend the other day, and you know, I was saying, you know, this piece of paper that we pay for with things, it actually has absolutely no value. It's just a piece of paper. The only reason why it has any kind of a value is because we gave it value. We agreed that it has a value, but what do you get and receive, um, you know, from this money? It's either a service or a product that we had to create, right? That came from us. And
I mean,
so, you know, getting
yeah.
people to think in that way, that it's not the dollar that's giving the value, you are the value.
And I'm sensitive to that as well. This is why I created the love-onomics, so that there's a transition, because
Yes.
we cannot just turn off that spigot.
Right, right. I'm so glad you brought that up, because I think a lot of people are feeling a bit anxious and, you know, having some apprehensions about how this is going to, you know, how are we going to transition? So, you know, maybe you might want to talk about that, but I don't know if we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Well, the thing is, what you're expressing, I'm very sensitive that I have this knowledge. It's one thing to have this knowledge, it's another thing to be able to do something about it.
Right.
And this is where me, Hunter, the intrinsic value of discovering what I discovered. And that is, these energies are two different energies. I made a conscious choice that I choose love. And then now I can connect the word love to the quantum field's precise, clear channel. And now that word love becomes a super amplifier. When I express it in words, and it goes into your eardrum, and then it converts into vibration, because that's what our body is mostly made of. And
Yeah.
so that's where you're experiencing what I'm expressing, that I don't have to tell you I'm telling the truth. You already know, because our vibrational harmony is in you know. And so again, all of it added value to creating this transition system. And at the same time, because I created that system in 2007, again, Anna and I didn't get together till 2021.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that it was, you know,
Yeah,
that recent.
yeah. I only came, but like I said, when I came, it was because I was already networking with the other groups. Okay, like the Thrive movement. All right, and
Hmm.
then with Dell and the High Wire. Okay,
Yeah. Yep.
and so I'm networked with all of them, and it was through um, the Thrive movement where it was just a passing conversation about the American Assembly. Okay,
Mm.
and then so I took the time to research a bit, and like I said, I I got to the assemblies in February of 2021. Okay, now let me put this in perspective. So February of 2021, I get into the assembly. February 5th, I correct my status already.
Ah, that's great.
No, but it's because I'm consciously honed into the field
Hmm.
that is precisely bringing me here. Now,
Right.
I correct my status, but at the same time, I see a pattern of chaos
Mm. Yes.
throughout the whole assemblies.
Right.
There's no harmony existing, and there's no systems. Okay.
Mm.
And so again, as you express, you know, at the end of the day, evil wields this system. He who controls the money controls it. Okay.
Right. Right.
And I'm coming into the Assembly's energy space in 2021. Now, Tammy, I had my systems at 2007 and I kept it and I wouldn't connect it to the system because in 2008, when my discovery was validated, I knew I cannot connect my system.
Right.
And
Yeah,
I
it
just
wasn't the right
kept it.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, think about it. From 2008 to 2021.
Right. That's a long time.
Yeah. And so this is where, so I correct my status on February 5th. And then I expressed to Anna because I realized she had no system. Okay. And so I'm sensitive that nature brought me into that energy space to add value.
Right.
Okay? And that's where I expressed to Anna, let's do a charter. Now here, again, another evidence of the sensitivity and communicating to the field. Anna harmonizes with me. I harmonize with Anna. And I say, let's just get it done. Okay. Now, you don't plan it. It harmonizes.
Right.
So in April, we have the discussion. We take the steps. And this is where it validates. We actually signed the charter, okay, on 5/28/2021.
Yeah, beautiful.
Think about it. And when we signed it, I explained it to Anna because Anna has no clue about what I've discovered. But I was emphasizing with Anna that for me, I acknowledged what was taking place. Nature was adding its value. That Hunter, you're right on track. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So this is how I brought my system to be here. So from 2007, 2008, not connecting it at all, and then 2021, connecting it. And that's where we have the prosperity system now. So
Beautiful. Thank you for clarifying all that for us. And it makes sense, and I believe that it's all in divine timing.
I mean, it's in harmony. Like I said, I'm sensitive because as I expressed, I'm done with God conversations. I'm done with religions because these have always existed. Okay. And no paradigm shift has taken place. You only see the pattern of more chaos. You see all the religions promoting their religions. They may say, oh yeah, God bless, God bless. And then the next question, oh, which God? Okay. And here's another thing. I'm sensitive of expressing creation. Okay. Not creation, but nature. Okay. Not so much creation or creator. Because what I am sensitive to is evil manipulating those words. And then next thing, they create a deity, some kind of deity that we end up becoming subservient to. And then we become, again, the pattern of chaos.
Right, right.
So this is why I refer sensitive to nature, because I can appreciate the water and the trees and the beauty of our beautiful planet, and to be able to harmonize with it, knowing that the end game is that we evolve consciously where money is no longer a factor in the formula, but to be able to bring in a transition. And I'm grateful because through Anna and our harmonizing together, the assets that were stolen from the people, now we can recover those assets.
Right.
And we have a place to bring these assets home into a fortified, again, system. And
Right.
that's the sensitivity of the global prosperity system, being a conduit for this to take place now. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you've created this, and it sounds like it can be a smooth transition for us.
I'm not going to say it will be a smooth transition. I will say it's going to be a paradigm shifting tsunami transition.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we know what a tsunami does. When it comes, it comes.
Yes, it comes with a lot of force too.
A tremendous amount of energy.
Yes.
And I'm intending it that way. And the energy that amplifies it is all of our energy. And so what I'm intending is consciously, everyone makes their choice.
Yeah.
Love is it. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And we see that all throughout, speaking of, I grew up Christian, and specifically actually Catholic, but we were always focused on the aspect of what Yeshua, Jesus Christ brought to us. And it was always love, right? Unconditional love. And so I think this is probably why this resonates so much with me, is that that's been the center of my upbringing and my life, is unconditional love. And so I think that's such a beautiful thing. And I see unconditional love with you and with Anna, and so many people that are in this to in the world, making a difference. Let's just say, taking everything, their experiences, their knowledge, and then actually doing something with it, and not just for themselves, but for the betterment of the entire world. That's what I find so beautiful. I think that that's what resonates with me the most.
Right.
And I was wondering, since we're talking about the energy and 528, can you talk a little bit about how you came up with the initial calculations and the framework for the system?
Okay, so if you're talking about the system, and if you're talking about the mathematical formula.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so the mathematical formula, so mathematics is a language.
Yes.
Okay, it's like when musicians get together and they play music, they're looking at their chords. That's their language. Right. Everyone that plays an instrument know exactly what chord that is. Okay. Well, mathematics is the same thing. It's a language. But there's such diverse applications in mathematics. There's trigonometry. Okay. There's trigonometry. Okay. There's different, or in Albert Einstein's case, E equals mc squared. All right. Mm-hmm. Where we're recognizing the change in energy, in mass, as we get closer to the speed of light. All right. And that's a measurement in mass. The mathematics here that I formulated, that had to come to me straight from the field. Mm-hmm. Because there has never been a mathematics that's going to bring you on a journey to be able, the minute you make your choice, and that's why I express my intent is those that are hearing me, my journey began with me making a conscious choice that I choose love. And once I chose love, then my journey of experimenting and exploring and developing the mathematics, I realized this is a different kind of mathematics, because this mathematics is a conscious mathematics. Hmm. So it's not trigonometry or building a house. Okay.
Yeah.
This is a conscious mathematics. And so I wanted to fill it with integers that people could relate to. So the LE is loving energy. And then there's the minute you make your choice, the consciousness is activated. Then your journey, as you continue, you're going to see that you become intimately sensitive to the events that's going to start to shift into your energy space. And so there's a line of integers that I consider the accelerated zone of your consciousness. And so this is where the expression of reflection, humility, and gratitude comes in, because it has a rippling effect, okay, to you catapulting into the next level of consciousness. And when you get to that next level of consciousness, now you hit the infinity. Once you hit the infinity, you're locked into the field. So that's where I am, Tammy. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I don't need to meditate. Okay. I don't have to do breathe. It's so humbling because I'm locked into the field. And in the field, it's all harmonious. So every evidence of the destructive patterns that we are living in this destructive world, none of it exists, because that's all evil. That in itself was inspiring for me. This is why nature has no interest in controlling. Crazy, right?
Right.
Nature's pattern is just producing.
Right. Yeah. No, and
Yeah.
I think you can see that, yes. But when you put it in that kind of perspective, it's interesting.
Yeah, because again, I'm a scientist and I can relate, physics and astronomy and so on and so forth. So it all comes into a humble perspective for me. I mean, we're so tiny on the scale of the universe.
Right.
And yet nature has produced billions of universes.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Microcosm.
Yeah. And so this is where I'm grateful, like to say that Global is here for 8 billion. Absolutely. I mean, on the scale of the universe, knowing that nature's unconditional love is evident throughout the whole universe.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Beautiful thing. Yeah.
That we can come together and amplify that same sensitivity to our little tiny planet of 8 billion people.
Right.
And realize that we're all the same.
Yes. And, when we think of prosperity, there's things that come to mind for me when we're thinking about our current financial system and where we're going, right? Where this is going to take us. And for me, listening to some people, and people have good hearts. Some of them are like, well, when I have my prepaid credit, I'm going to donate this to this person. I'm going to help them get out of. And I'm like, nope, that's not it. You don't need to donate anything anymore because they're going to be just as prosperous as you. And that's one of the things that is so. The size of this is just so enormous because all these missions that a lot of our churches do, and different outreach programs, soup kitchens, and all these different things that are there to help has been great in this system. But getting into a whole new system that's a prosperity system that's going to bring prosperity for everyone, and people won't have to live without, and I think it's hard for people, especially in our country, because we have, it's one of the most abundant countries. But when you go outside of our country and you can see how people are really living in poverty, it's hard to wrap your head around that, and to see, how a government, right, can allow that to be. And so for me, thinking of it on a global scale, is going to be a world that none of us have ever known. right? I mean, it's going to be,
No,
like you said, a
yeah,
tsunami, because just the effects of bringing that much prosperity to 8 billion people, it's going to be a different world. It's going to be
well,
beautiful.
let's take a moment to reflect on what you expressed. You've got people that have their accounts in the prosperity system, and they're already saying, okay, then I would do it. Well, you got to take a step further back, because without the global system, none of it would take place. So although people are thinking, I'm gonna help here, and yet at the same time, we get people still, why isn't global here, releasing this wealth? Again, you got to take a step back. What I created has never existed. There has never been a system where people can leave. And so the intention behind me building this whole system, I was very sensitive. Like, I can start, because I am qualified, I can build things from nothing. Okay. And so global system is a closed system. It's fortified to really foundation into nature's harmony field. Okay. And so for me, okay, so the system is built. It started with me only, Tammy.
Right.
I'm building a system. There's nothing. And look at where we are right now. Right now, currently, we have about 35,000 emails that we send out. I'm a spreadsheet guy, Tammy. So
Right.
this is where I project it out.
Numbers in front of you.
Yeah. So we send out 35,000 emails, okay? From that 35,000, resonate with what's taking place. As I say, we encourage everyone to correct their status, open their prosperity accounts. Now, I've also developed System 1, where that's the gateway for where they don't need to be status corrected yet, but it's a gateway so they can move their FRNs and their fiat, okay? And then we put it in a safety vault. But the key is, I'm here reflecting 35,000. So each person share this knowledge with one other person. So that means we should see a growth pattern that now we have 70,000. Now let me put it in perspective, and this is where I want to harmonize with you, because I'm gonna do us, you and I. I'm gonna have fun. Just hold on a second. Okay, so today is the 25th of April. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to leave it at 35,000. Now, as my numbers are running, by July 19th, well, let me stay in 2026. By November 21st, by December 21st, 2026, we are already at 8 million people.
Wow.
And 8 million people have accounts in the prosperity system. We're already creating a paradigm shift.
Yeah, it's huge.
That's why I created the system to be its own standalone. At the same time, as the strategist, an analyst, as a visionary, I'm sensitive that we have also, not leaving any stone unturned, but we look at every avenue that's unfolding right now as well. But so, intending we continue on this track. The goal is, I have my spreadsheet reflecting how many in the US, 350 million people, okay? And then I have it also calculating 8.4 billion people, which is what I designed it for, okay?
Mhm.
Well, by July 19th, we're already 2027. We're already at, let me push it up. May 20th, we're already over 350 million people.
Nice. And the calculations are based upon each member sharing this out and getting another individual on board,
Yeah,
right?
that's just one person.
Right.
But as I say, what I've created has never been done before. And if we all, I mean, my intention is we all resonate into harmony to embrace the intrinsic value of global, a system that is designed for 8 billion precious people to harmonize and live prosperity. Like you said, we're done with the debt slave system.
Right.
The tsunami is to sweep that debt system and bring in the era of love-onomics and jubilee, which
Right.
is the gold asset-backed monetary system and the prepaid credit financial system, which
Right.
is what you expressed earlier.
Yeah. And I wanted to let everybody know that you had shared a graphic with me when I put the when this goes up on BitChute and YouTube. I will add the links to that so people can go straight to them and get the information there.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll harmonize more with you on that too as well.
Sure.
But when I talk about we're all connected, as we express, claim your birthright. But like I said, we're all fundamental particles of nature. So we're all photons. We're all electrons. We're all quarks. We're all neutrinos. Okay. So,
You're getting down to the itty bitties.
yeah. Which is why you're seeing a pattern with me that I can love 8 billion people unconditionally, because where I am consciously locked into the field. So I don't see color, I don't see race. I embrace with humility nature of how it added its value in each of us, you see.
Right. Yes. So, when we're talking about the rollout of this, can
Yeah.
you maybe give a bit of a description on, or some kind of an explanation or a vision of what that is going to look like for people?
Yeah. So actually, global has two systems, and the systems are active. So the delay is not on the global systems. The delay is actually navigating through the jurisdictions.
Mm.
Okay. So global systems can connect. Okay. But I built two systems. So one system stays totally fortified, and that's a closed system. That's where our Treasury Department has issued the American Federation dollar, the Global Harmony dollar, the Universal Harmony dollar.
Mm-hmm.
And so that comes from our United States Treasury, the true republic. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So again, from that treasury, we also are issuing the prepaid credit heritage dollar, because that's what we're distributing right now. So when you see a distribution coming into your account, that's the prepaid credit distribution that's coming into your account.
Yeah. And can you touch on how that is going to be applied practically for people to use? Like if I'm going to the grocery store, let's just say, right?
Right.
How would I be able to access that prepaid credit?
The system is designed so that you folks can pull it straight from your account. As I say, the connectivity is not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's like I said, there's Anna on her side with the land jurisdiction. Okay. And there's the whole financial system that controls that side. All right. So we can build momentum, just like I will explain to you, get the word out So everybody is opening up a prosperity account. And as we get everybody opening a prosperity account, we can activate our own love-onomics of exchanging goods and services. Because I didn't stop here at just building the love-onomics system. We've also built a system for vendors to come over from the world of corporation, and we made it very user-friendly for them. I'll give you an example. Boeing. Okay.
Okay.
It would be so easy for Boeing, just shut down their corporation, come into the global system, vendor system as an unincorporated company, and boom. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Same thing with Costco, okay, or Sam's Club. Same thing. So I've designed it so that everyone can harmonize, and now they enter into the love-onomics system. And so from that, we have everything built already for everyone to be able to go right from their prosperity account. We have the prosperity card, which again, I'm sensitive that this card is going to be a harmonizing card for every sector that have been abusing. So when I look at the health and welfare industry, the insurance industry, all these monopolies, I had someone express to me, Hunter, it looks like you're trying to corner the market. Can you hear me?
Yes. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I can hear you. Yep.
Okay.
What do they mean by corner the market?
Well, like I said, in the evil-nomics, that's what Trump is doing now. They're creating a monopoly.
Right.
Okay. So that's what the expression was to me. It looks like you're cornering the market for a monopoly. I said, slow your roll. Show me one monopoly that is here to distribute wealth. Show me one monopoly that is here to end the debt slavery system and convert it into a credit gold asset-backed system. And that's it. Done. And that's what I want everyone to harmonize with. You know, don't just open your account and say, okay, well, when global releases this, I'm going to give this. No, get proactive. Be grateful for your account. Resonate with your account. Share it with others. So we get the paradigm shift of numbers of people actually opening their account inside of the prosperity system.
Right.
So this is what, again, I'm expressing, that we're the intrinsic value. We're the paradigm shift. Does that make sense, Tammy?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, for me, when I know something is evil and it's enslaving people, if there's an alternative that's available, that's been created on love and honesty, integrity, and abundance and prosperity, it seems more like a no-brainer to me to just leave that system and turn to the other one. I think that this is going to be an interesting transition because I'm not quite sure how the organizations, I'm just going to say the corporations that we're used to making our purchases from, if there's going to be, you know, like a mechanism, if you would, that will allow us. I know that there was talks about a QR code that we would get, that we could go to the stores and, you know, it would convert our, you know, prepaid credit into FRNs for them, you know, and it would come straight from our account. Can you talk a little bit about that maybe, and how that'll work? Because one of the challenges that I think I see is, you know, people are used to staying where they're comfortable, right? If this has been working for them, and, you know, and maybe they don't yet see the evil behind, you know, what they're doing just yet. And maybe they're not going to want to change. Are you saying that we need to find other vendors that are going to use our system? Or do you think that there's going to be some kind of a mechanism like a QR code that we can use that will convert from prepaid credit to FRNs, like say like for Costco? If I was to go to Costco, I could use this QR code and it would take my prepaid credit and automatically convert it into FRNs for Costco because that's their means of trade, right, or currency.
Well, first of all, I'm gonna tell you straight out. We don't want to go back, sliding back into this freaking debt system. That's what FRNs is.
Right.
Okay. So what I'm saying is, get ready for the shock and awe. That's what global is. It's a shock and awe. It's a paradigm shift. I'm done with evil. Okay. And so
Right.
I'm grateful that I'm here, that I've created this system that never existed before. Okay. So it's not like, oh, great, I get this AFD and then I want to convert it back to FRNs. No, we don't want to feed that system. We want to purge it. So I'm not here. Let me make this clear. I'm not here to help. Okay. The reason I'm not here to help is because I'm no longer in duality.
Right.
So nature's harmony field did not create us helpless. So I'm not here to help. I'm here to add value. I'm here to transmit my energy in harmony with others to be able to harmonize with. And we all make a choice. And we paradigm shift.
Right.
So I don't have to beg Costco to come over. The shift will take its place. Let me tell you, I'll create another Costco. I'm qualified at building companies. Okay. And so I won't name it Costco.
I hope not.
but that's exactly my point. My
Yeah.
point is, we the people are the value. So as my numbers show me, I, again, harmonize, build the system, move 8 billion people into this system, and the whole love-onomics system shifts.
Right. Right. Because, and kind of expanding on what you were just saying is that if I have a prosperity account, you have a prosperity account, and you have a product that I want to purchase, I can use my account and exchange with you, right? I can get my services and my products from you, and then that trade can take place kind of seamlessly within the system. And so I see what you're saying. Like the more we get on board using this system, the less we'll have to rely upon, the evil-nomics system, and start creating and making the things that we need and the things that we want in this new system. Is that what I'm hearing? Wait. Does that seem on par?
Wait, hold on. Sorry, Tammy, I lost you for a second.
Yeah, and I think your screen is frozen.
My screen is frozen.
I can hear you, but yeah, your screen is frozen. Oh, there you are.
Okay, there we go. Okay, sorry. That's exactly my expression, because when I discovered I cannot fix evil,
right,
I took action. That's why it's humbling. It's one thing to know, it's another thing to do something about it. Okay.
right.
And there are so many, facades in the way evil manipulates its presence.
Yeah.
And one of those things are religions. And so, that's going to be another shock, because nature didn't create religions.
Right. Right. Yeah, we talk about this quite frequently within our assemblies. I think a lot of people are having these conversations within their assemblies, but I know, we've mentioned it because, and some people aren't ready to have that conversation. But if you think about it, um, it makes sense, right? You've got the creator created man, and man had to create the religion. It wasn't the creator, religion, and man, right?
Yeah, where I 528 paradigm shifted. For me, it's not creator, it's nature.
Hmm.
Okay. So nature, its pattern is again bringing forth prosperity and abundance. And then from here, we can harmonize with it, or as evil chose to take it and manipulate it.
Right.
Okay. And then it's created its form of infrastructure.
Hmm.
But the thing is, where my knowledge is at, and I'm sharing with everybody, when you get to this point of consciously recognizing nature's pattern of harmony, now you see the dysfunction of evil's infrastructure of
Hmm.
what it's created. And
Right.
so, we can now recognize everything that's going on. It's all evil's manipulative infrastructure. And what you're experiencing with me right now, we're totally in harmony.
Right.
And that's what we get to look forward to when we choose. And as you say, some people are not ready to have this conversation. And I'm sensitive to that
Yeah.
because we've been infected so deeply. Like I said, I had to go through a paradigm shift of healing. But once I realized that in the field, there's no judgment. And,
Right.
and then that's why I wrote to you, like, no governments, no borders, no. And I get this whole list that I then embraced it because there's no judgment, that I could look at how I'm so dysfunctional and then analyze how deep that dysfunctionality had impacted me by the programming that I've gone through as
Right.
a child, you see. But now where I was at, I'm grateful because I could recognize it, and I'm not praying to God to forgive me or to heal me. I'm manning up, Tammy, because I know in the field of nature's unconditional love, there is no judgment. So it inspires me to man up, to see where evil manipulated me and know that's a dysfunctional, and know that I can address it, look at it for what it is, and I can tell it, you know what, evil, talk to the hand, I'm done.
Right.
I choose to harmonize, you see. And so I'm sensitive with those that are not ready to have that conversation. At the same time, I'm here to add value because my compassion and my passion is for 8 billion precious living people. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And you're providing so much verification because even when I meet people for the first time and they meet me for the first time and I spend a moment with them, they will say, man, I've never heard someone articulate it the way you have, you know? But again, that's the evidence because, yeah, in the harmony field of nature's energy, that's everything. It's all harmonizing. It's very humbling. And so that's, again, this is me adding value to do something about it and build a system
Yeah.
with the intention for the masses to shift over. In the meantime, we're not leaving any stone unturned. We're looking at other, like I say, avenues as well. But just know that the global systems are active, you see.
So, excuse me. So, since they're currently active, if I wanted to trade with another ASN who has a prosperity account, would I be able to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you can just from your account. Yeah. You log onto your account and then uh, you get theirs. So, okay, here, this is the unique paradigm shifting thing about the global system. The global system is a closed system. So there's no swift interference. Okay. There's no institutional interference. It's a direct pay.
Yeah.
And it's the same benefit that we're providing for the vendors as well. So that when they come on, their QR code would represent their account within the system. So you pay directly to their QR code. And again, that's it. Your payment goes direct. There's no interference at all. But I designed the system that way because it's sensitive that once you receive your prosperity, there is no interfering with that system. The prosperity is for that user.
And now here's a question for you, because, the current system, the evil-nomics system that we're used to, I know that if I were to buy something and then I said, oh, it didn't fit, like let's say it was a shirt, I need to return it. I go to return it. And, when I bought it, the money came out of my account instantly.
Right.
But when I need to return it, they're telling me now it's going to take 7 to 10 business days for it to hit my account. Now I know with that money that they're taking that money within the SWIFT system and they're reinvesting it and they're, making money off of my money instead of returning it to me. So in the prosperity system, if I bought something from a vendor and I say I had to return it or whatever, how would it come back to me? How would that work?
So you're kind of putting the cart before the horse, okay, right now. But I will express this: none of the chaos will exist in the love-onomics system, because everything within the system, especially for the vendors, as I say, I'm not here to convince the corporate vendors to come over. Right. Like I said, we'll create our own. Okay. And again, being able to harmonize and be able to add value, especially, to the farmers unions. That's the foundation, and so this is why Global is sensitive, to Nasera, Jacera, right?
Yeah.
And really, as I say, this is where the assemblies, everyone coming together in harmony. And I mean all 50 states, you see, really taking this moment to come together in harmony and to be able to amplify our energies together. Because the vendors that harmonize here, everything is about compassion and caring. And so although we would still be using the AFD is just a transition, okay? But still, that transition, there's a pattern in nature's harmony field, and that is to be compassionate to each other. So it's not really about the money anymore. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting transition. I'll leave it at that. One that I'm looking forward to, and I'm looking forward to the day that we can all get there. Where money is not a control mechanism anymore, but it's just a tool to to trade and nothing more.
I mean, for me, the end game is money be gone.
Right.
Okay.
Right. And I know I've heard Anna say that as well.
Yes, because we're in harmony with that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And at the same time, we're sensitive that, we can harmonize to bring forth a transition. And then what I'm grateful for is what Anna has done to activate the Republican assemblies. And this is why the assemblies can add tremendous value, not by being segregated and chaotic, but begin with just making a choice that we choose love. And then from there, we'll all experience how we can add value. Because
Yeah.
as I say, we're not helpless. We can all add value. And so those that are qualified on that lane, I'm qualified on bringing the prosperity side and the systems. But on the landscape of the jurisdictional side, right, of our republic, the same harmony pattern should really be the predominant intention for everyone, because we have those politics. So this is something I was harmonizing with Anna, because I said, reflecting upon the republic, we're unincorporated. So that means we don't have presidents, vice presidents, treasuries. You see what I'm saying? Yeah, corporate structure has that. So we can even add value, more harmonizing value, in bringing our republic into harmony, where we don't have state representatives, we have state harmonizers. Okay. And
Yeah, and you make a good point. It's about changing the language, right? When you change the
because
language,
words, remember I told you, Tammy,
yeah,
when I discovered love is a word, and then that took me to the quantum field. Then once I made the discovery, then I could come back and I can connect the word love precisely to the harmonic field of nature's unconditional love. And
right.
so, yeah, so you're absolutely correct. And Anna knows how sensitive I am. And I'm grateful because we're both evolving consciously together, you see. And
Yeah,
that's the intent.
yeah, and I'm enjoying watching. You touched a little bit on our assemblies being a little chaotic, and I think that's part of the process because of the situation we find ourselves in with this transitioning. And those of us who are already harmonizing um, needs to be the trailblazer, so to speak, in using our language and showing up with love, compassion, kindness, especially when those around us may not be showing up that way. And it is hard, it's tough when you have somebody that doesn't have a regulated nervous system, and they're all over the place and their language doesn't match and is not harmonizing with our intentions and what we're doing here. And so I know that has been an undertaking, a huge undertaking for those of us that are already there and trying to hold the line. And so, and we're making huge progress, I think, in that way. I think there needs to be more work done, and perhaps some focus in that regard on what does it mean to harmonize? What does that look like? What should I be doing, every day to help with harmonizing and collaborating and bringing our assemblies into coherence? And so these are things that I think that we're all working on. And so it's a beautiful thing when somebody like yourself is leading the charge on a new prosperity system, when you're already harmonizing and locking in with nature. So we're going to wrap this interview up, Hunter. And so what I'd like to ask you for the last question is, what are your last thoughts and maybe some takeaways that you would like to leave the audience to help inspire them and challenge them to move forward?
It's not a challenge. Um, it's a paradigm shift. So taking a moment to reflect that what I've delivered, I'm emulating what I discovered in the harmony field of nature. And I'm emulating that by delivering the global love-onomics system. And the global love-onomics system is very intricate in paradigm shifting the entire planet. because it is a system that we can utilize in the transition. Okay. Now, for the assemblies, as I say, it's not a challenge. You make the choice, each one of you. You choose love. And then you start your journey. As I say, you don't memorize the mathematics, but we'll make the mathematics available. But your journey will validate the mathematics.
Yeah. And I see I see that you're getting a little choked up here. And so your work and what you've done here clearly has a huge impact on, you know, your feelings and emotions for the 8 billion people that you created this system for. And so, I just wanted to say I appreciate your genuinity and your authenticity, and coming onto the podcast today and giving us an opportunity to hear from you and get to know you a little bit more. We've heard so much about you and about your system, and we have. I know I have my account with the global family group, and so it's just nice to connect. The face and the man that's behind this system that you've created. And I just wanted to say a great big thank you on behalf of all of our state assemblies, and on behalf of the 8 billion precious people that you've created this system for. And, thank you for all the time, the energy, the effort. Thank you for your journey and your evolution to get here, evolving into the man you are today. Just grateful for you, grateful hanging in there when people aren't harmonizing with you, and staying in your zone, and holding the line. And so,
I do want to express one more thing, Tammy,
yes, go for it.
because I actually shouldn't even be here. Okay. The events occurred after I made the discovery. So in 2011, I had a major heart attack.
Oh gosh.
And I went through quadruple bypass surgery.
Wow.
Okay. Now, in 2011, I already made the discovery. In 2008. So I made my choice. I was already evolving. So I already put religion on the side. I put God on the side. I'm just staying in the energy. Okay. So 2011, I go through quadruple bypass. From 2011 to 2018, my heart was dying. Okay.
Oh, wow.
So they had to install a left ventricle assisted device, which is the spinoff of the artificial heart.
Wow.
So I had to go under another operation. And so from 2018 to 2019, I'm on this artificial system. I referred to it as my Ferrari, because the ejection fraction of a normal heart usually runs between 50 to 58%. My ejection fraction was at 13%.
Whoa.
So with the Ferrari, it escalated it. But my point is, I'm seeing this pattern taking place because I'm evolving consciously into the field. And my scientific side is analyzing and archiving data of what I'm experiencing. And I'm recognizing there's a pattern going on, that nature is extending my incubator here. Because while I'm going through all of this, I haven't slowed down on the global side.
Hmm.
I'm still moving on the global side. Okay. So this is where it becomes really hard. So in 2019, I finally get on the list for a heart transplant.
Wow.
Yeah. And remember, I told you I met Anna in February of 2021.
Right.
Okay. So I still have my artificial heart, okay, when I meet Anna. And so from the time I meet Anna till October 25th, 2021, I actually get a heart transplant.
Wow. Wow. And you,
And I didn't slow down. Joshua will tell you, he met me for the first time on a Zoom conference, and I was running the Zoom conference from the hospital.
oh my goodness. Talk about dedication right there.
Well, it's. I mean, that's why you can harmonize, because I've embraced the magnitude of my sensitivity to add value, but it's all connected to my compassion. But that's because that's what's in the harmony field of nature's unconditional love. And that's what I'm expressing to the audience. That is what is there for all of us once we choose. Because like I said, deep down inside, we know that when we're suffering, that's not right. And I'm not fantasizing or preaching some kind of dream. I'm living it. And yet I'm the one that's producing and delivering the system. Does that make sense, Tammy?
Yeah. Yeah. So somebody who had a heart transplant is, giving us his 528 heart-centered love, unconditional love.
Oh,
So
yeah.
what a beautiful story, and how to tie it in here.
Yeah, it's very humbling. And then I reflect quite often of the person's heart that I did receive,
Yeah, because they say sometimes when you get those kind of organ donations, right, that you're also accepting their part of their DNA, right? So you can get some memories from them too. I'm wondering if you've experienced any of that.
Let me put it in this way. So I know that the donor's heart that I received had been very chaotic. The donor's history. Okay. From prison time to whatever else. So I was sensitive that when they shared it, I transmitted my energy to that heart to embrace it within my energy field. And that's what I've done. That's why I'm saying I'm so grateful, because in nature's harmony field, there is no judgment.
Right.
But I know what this person had suffered had been the suffering of evil's construct. So I'm not here to judge. I'm here to harmonize.
Yeah.
You see? And it's been so humbling, because as they say, I'm here, to add value. And there are no words, but just gratitude. So I'm grateful, Tammy, that I got this time to spend with you. And
well, it was my
you.
pleasure to host you. And it's been a pleasure to spend this time with you. And, for the people in the audience, this is the website that's been going across the bottom of the screen is global528.com. You can head there and learn all about the Prosperity Center and sign up for an account. There, Hunter also offers status corrections also through the Global Family Bank. So, if there's anything else you'd like to say, I don't know if you were putting your finger up, but I just wanted to express my gratitude to you, Hunter. And I look forward to, this tsunami and the love-onomics hoisting us forward and casting us
Yeah.
in an expedient speed to, bring us into a period of our Earth, this new Earth that's immersing, where people can live with prosperity and health and love and joy and all these things that we were meant to live with.
Yeah. And I do want to express sensitively that we're not a bank. We
Right.
are prosperity centers, epicenters, because as you expressed, we'll add value in the shift in the words now that we, the thing is, it's the technology that allows us to conduct love-onomics. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful for that, Tammy.
Yeah.
But thank you for having me. Can we, once you end, continue
Yeah.
a
So
little longer?
we will say goodbye to everybody. And, I'm
Okay.
sure hopefully we'll get Hunter back on again. And stay tuned. We've got another podcast coming back next week with other special guests. So stay tuned until next time. Take care. Goodbye.